for the local team, Spain Drone Team. STT Perpetuum coin. Now it's very exciting to see what's coming from this team. They have been, like I said at the beginning, okay, bottom of the leaderboard, getting better. Danube doing more than the lion's share of the work. Brilliant pilot and having to be because, you know, as good as he was, you can't do it all by yourself. And I'm not saying he was doing it all by himself, but he was by far their standout performer. Excited to see though, over the break between the seasons, what that might have done for the team, and a few changes of pilots as well. For this race that's coming up against the DCL wildcard team, we've got HYG going to be racing with Silvio, Danube there in the middle, and it is Shrimpy Boy who completes the lineup for the STT Perpetuum coin team. Over on the wildcard side of things, the wild side. See what I did? Those picked for this race, it's Mr. Bogey, Zoom, Fizzy, and Rocker Guy. Those are the 4 pilots. And we're going to dive straight in to race number 3. STT Perpetuum coin, as you can see, had managed to win the first 2 races, 2-0. The 1v1 and the 2v2, but let's go racing now with Silvio and HYG for Spain Drone Team in green, STT Perpetuum coin, and then the wildcard team have got Mr. Bogey and Zoom very much in the fight in the 3rd race of this duel. Silvio battling out with Zoom at the front, Mr. Bogey just a little bit behind HYG, but this is all very, very close. HYG slipped a bit, Mr. Bogey has slipped a little bit more, so we'll stick around up front and enjoy the action here between Zoom and Silvio. Yes, Shane. We're gonna leave some sound out for the moment. You have to enjoy the tunes. Zoom, look at that, moving up on Silvio and doubling their way back, and now through DCL drop, and they're making their way around towards the latter stages of lap number 1 with Silvio 0.2 of a second ahead of Zoom, and coming on to lap number 2 now. Silvio still in the lead as he's completed that 360 and down through the gate and to the water. Rocker Guy, welcome to the chats. Zoom is the boss. Yeah, we're getting to see something of the wildcard team, I can tell you. We're on board with Zoom, who's nearly 0.2 behind. That's a good turn there. Now let's see about the exits out of this. Who gets brave? Both of them play it safe. That's not demeaning them in any way. The route out through the side of that gate is terrifying. Some of the pilots can do it. These pilots playing it safe and sensibly so. Zoom has just slipped a little bit further behind Silvio now. The race at the back has got Mr. Bogey well in front of HYG. But Silvio 0.4 of a second in front of Zoom. Zoom in this position might be feeling a little bit like it's not that much, has made it 0.3. The drop here is where you can take a lot of time out. Both of those pilots doing it well, but Zoom's taken another 10th out of that gap and is moving up on Silvio. Now we'll go on to lap number 3, weaving our way over the top of the start gates, back through the pagoda gate, and Zoom is giving it everything he's got. It's now 100th, a few hundredths of a second between him and Silvio as they're almost side by side in the middle of lap number 3. This is what we're here for. Spain Drone Team, I've been talking about how well they've been flying a wildcard team. I never told you that they were slow. They may be the wildcard team of pilots that got put together to make this team have a chance to show what they can do. Zoom is showing you that he likes leading races, and Silvio has made a mistake and helped him get to that front position. Zoom heads his way down from the tower now, and Silvio with quite some catching up to do, but one bump anywhere on this tricky track in China, that can cost you everything. How about this turn? Not for Silvio! Not for Silvio. Zoom is away. And Zoom gets a point for the wildcard team, and it's going to make it 2-1. Mr. Bogey's coming in 3rd. HYG looked like he wanted a 4th lap of that. Actually went around for lap number 4. But getting that finish gate. And Zoom makes it 2-1. Yeah, this is going to be a good series. Want to see some more? How about a big heat? All the pilots. So now Rocker Guy is racing in this. Vizzy in this as well for the wildcard team. And Shrimpy Boy and Danube join in for STT with that 2-1 lead that they've got. So Zoom will fancy getting out in front and showing them how to win this race as well. What can Rocker Guy and Mr. Bogey do at the moment? They're very much in the fight. Vizzy in the middle of things. It's the first time we've seen him as well. downwards, nicely done, into the slalom. Danube and Silvio up the front, then Zoom, and then a couple of tenths until we get to HYG, who's got Vizzy for very close company. Danube leading his team, as he does so well. Here's Silvio's view, was of Danube, but now there's a red drone in it. Look at that, nicely timed, Zoom. Told you I haven't seen these races. That was perfect timing to drop in there. Zoom around in second, slipping back to third as Silvio got on the inside of that turn. That was only the first lap. Let's go for the second one with Silvio a couple of tenths behind Danube, and Zoom right alongside him. We'll go on board with Silvio, who might get a red drone popping up around him very shortly. Or maybe he is just starting to get away. Just a tenth appearing here and there between some of our pilots now. At the back is Mr. Bogey and Rocker Guy. HYG sees Shrimpy Boy get away and move up into third as it's all getting quite close in the middle of things. Zoom, though. Zoom, no, has been passed by 2 and 3. On his way down through that awkward ladder-like section. And that's put him a bit behind second and quite a long way behind first. This is Danube's to lose now, as there's almost 1.5 seconds between him and this pilot who's on his team, Shrimpy Boy. That was a very nice drop, Shrimpy Boy. Enjoyed that. Zoom's going to have to do some incredible work to catch him, never mind Danube. I don't think there's really anything Zoom or any of the other members of the wildcard team can do about this, short of willing STT to hit more stuff. Shrimpy Boy following Danube around on this, the final lap. Shrimpy in P2, says Cyclone. They're excited for him. Danube looking like he's going to get another win for the Spain drone team, as he's done so many times in the past. Christmas colours, says the ice cheater. It is, isn't it? It is beautiful. A few months early. You thought I was going to say late, but we're never late. Danube, Shrimpy Boy, and then Zoom. Zoom could very much get second here. But of course that's not what he wants. But yet second is for the taking from Shrimpy Boy. Here's a drop though for Danube. He's going to come through the Asensio turn in just a moment. There it goes into the finish gate, making a point for the for STT, the wildcard team. Still second by Zoom right at the end. Vizzy looked like he just skimmed it off the ground on the way into the finish gate. We've had a number of people hit the bottom of finish gates in the past. Rocker Guy and Mr. Bogey make it in. Everybody makes it in. What a race! What a series between these teams! STT, one of the teams who've been with us for a few years. Wildcard, the team who sort of got put together last to come in and take this race. Shrimpy Boy says, Zoom zoomed me. Bambi reckons you're a legend, nevertheless. Don't worry, we've got more races to come from this series. Great team this year, it's the Spain drone team. I'm loving what I'm seeing from you guys. We'll go now to the 5th race there. Remember, it's a best of 7. It's 3-1 after the big heat, so we have to have some more races. Or maybe just one more. If STT's Danube and Hig can win this one, it'll be 4-1. They'll win the match. Zoom and Rocker Guy need to do something about it. They have to win this and all the other races in this series. So Zoom versus Danube at the moment. Rocker Guy, a little bit too far behind at this stage. Flying consistently though, and then, you know, things can happen up front and pilots can get closer to you. Zoom heads down through that angled gate, slightly tricky. A couple of hundredths of a second between them and Danube, but he was on the wider side coming up to the turn. They've both got to be good through the drop, and they were, but Danube got out of it a little bit quicker. On board with Zoom, going into lap number 2. Danube just fractionally ahead of him. Nearer than pilots have been to Zoom for a lot of the race we saw just now, so Zoom will very much feel like the Torval pair, and then more is he's catching Danube. He believes he can do it. It's just over a tenth of a second between them. It's going to come down just to a few corners in succession, I think. The exit there, that could make a difference, but nobody's going for the scary exit. The drop here cost some pilots some time just now. Zoom still 0.17 behind Danube. That gap's not getting any bigger. It's not getting any smaller, quite tellingly too. HYG and Rocker Guy further behind in 3rd and 4th respectively. Danube finds his way down. Zoom's gone past him. Danube alongside him. It was just 1 or 2 turns, like I said. Just slight cornering there, and I do believe Danube clipped. I don't know how he got through it. It looked like he hit the left-hand side pretty hard of the drop gate. I know it's not a traditional drop gate in drone racing, but the drop into it is the challenge. The Torvald pair sees Danube behind Zoom now on the last lap of this. That was a very good bit of early turning by Danube. It's going to come down, like I've said, to just extra tight routes through corners. What a move by Zoom. If he hadn't managed to just keep that line there, then Danube would have had him, I'm pretty sure. There's a lot of pressure on both of these pilots now, but Danube has faced it in the past many times and has got the lead now. Zoom in second. The other pilots aren't going to be contesting the win here. It's going to be Danube or Zoom, and Zoom now 1 and a bit seconds behind, looking like Danube is going to take it all the way. Zoom is over the river with a much bigger gap than it appeared. Got caught out somewhere between the tower and the river, and the gap, which was, 1.5 to, 1600, 1700 throughout, becomes 2 seconds at the end. just crazy stuff. What a fantastic race all the way to the end. And this is when I can do Zoom there, making it 3-2, means we go to another race. Hope you're enjoying the action from the brilliant pilots. Hope you're also enjoying a little bit of extra kind of analysis of where things happen. Silvio and Vizzy, then Shrimpy Boy and Mr. Bogey. So, the red team, the wildcard team, in the same position here. Vizzy and Mr. Bogey have got to win this one. Then we'll go to the do or die 7th race of a best of 7 or 1v1. Onto the second lap here though, with Silvio and Shrimpy Boy at the front. Vizzy not far behind them. Mr. Bogey, a bit too far behind at the moment to be making an impact on where the point goes out of this race. We'll take a look at the wide shot. See Silvio with a few tenths of a second over Shrimpy Boy, and Vizzy gaining on Shrimpy Boy, but he's got to pull some really sharp turns out to make it work. That's interesting by Silvio. We might come back and take a look at that route out of the Pagoda Gate, because I haven't seen anybody do it quite that way yet. Vizzy has caught Shrimpy Boy. Can he catch Silvio? Got plenty of time in this race now that we're doing this longer format of 3 laps and much longer laps at that. Vizzy's view. 2 green drones in front of him. Drop, turn on yourself, and then make your way back out again through Scimitar. Vizzy still very much in contention with Shrimpy Boy. It's Silvio that he needs to catch though. Gonna keep your eye on Silvio next time to come to one of those Pagoda Gates. See how he makes the second part of it. Through this run of 4 DCL gates, back to the river, 2, and then weaving his way nicely out through the middle. I've seen some pilots go a little bit wider than that and still cut inside the pylons. Silvio flying brilliantly up front. Vizzy's moved up on Shrimpy Boy and he's got the inside route around the tower, which I think will keep hold of that lead, but it's 0.05 of a second between Vizzy and Shrimpy Boy. Nothing in between those two, but it's this man here's got to catch not one of those green drones, but both of them with very little time in which to do it. The pressure's on Silvio and Shrimpy Boy. Can they do it for STT Perpetuum Coin? He does! Silvio gets the win, 0.5 a second between him and Shrimpy Boy. Vizzy not far behind either of them. And with that, that's the 4th point that Spain drone team needed. But I'm going to take you back because that's the last time we're going to be looking at routes around Scimitar for tonight. Just take a look at this, a little bit of the chase from Vizzy. And then we're going to analyse what we do on the second lap with the second one of the Pagoda Gates. Because remember, you will get a chance to fly these tracks if you haven't already flown them in DCL the Game, which you can get on Steam and on PlayStation and on Xbox. And this is the kind of lines that you can learn from these pro pilots, but also you can try and do some daring stuff, like what is coming up here. So we go in It's in 3 sections. You go through the first one, and you sort of corkscrew the second, and then turn back for the third. There's the second, but he's already, this is Silvio in the lead, he's already turning hard left around the DCL pylon, which is in there, you can see on the ground. Coming out there, you can just see his drone right in the middle. He's gone round the pylon, so it's a valid racing line. A lot of pilots will go further wide here, so they'll follow the sort of green dotted line and come out, and then loop back in. But once they've made it through the pylon at the bottom, as the closest pylon to us at the bottom, they'll then turn sharp right and dart out through the red poles. I've not seen anybody turn left from the second section to the third section inside the gate like Silvio has managed to do here. Well played. Good racing, great fight from the wildcard team. Overall though, your winner, it's SDT. Like, after race day 1 though, we've seen all the 5 duels, including the magazine episode. After race day 1, it left us like this. China Dragons with that big win over the world champions, 4-2, and you've seen a couple of 4-0s. SDT with a wildcard team, 4-2 there. GG's indeed, rock a guy. So you get a point in our leaderboard, obviously, for the win. We don't have a complicated system like in previous years with 250 points for the best of the day and so on like that. Instead, we're just ranking it by wins and then looking at heat point differences if we need to get to that. So X-Blades have a tied situation here with Quad Force 1 and Cyclone Racing, as those 3 teams all won their heats 4-0. Then China Dragons beat Raiden 4-2, and we just saw SDT beat the wildcard team 4-2. Which means the teams below that. Look, Raiden Racing, the reigning world champions. This doesn't tell the whole story, of course, though. Raiden Racing with the 2-4 loss alongside the wildcard team, and then teams who are yet to pick up a win so far. And that was just race day 1. Race day 2 followed shortly after on our YouTube channel with the second day of racing, featuring these teams. And that's what we're going to give you now. If you're up for it, which I expect you are. Wildcard team are going to race against Haven. That's in the DCL magazine that you can watch on YouTube. We're going to concentrate on the other races. We're going to have STT Perpetuum Coin race against Mach 1. China Dragons against X-Blades, which has always been a great battle in previous years. Every team's going to race every other team twice. It's not exactly a home and away thing, obviously, being virtual. Every team's going to race every other team twice. We're actually going to get to see the second matchup between Cyclone and Alpha because it's just too good. These 2 teams are fighting each other. And then we're going to see what happens when you put the Americans against the Japanese, Quad Force 1 and Raiden Racing. If that's okay with you. Perpetuum Coin. For this race, they picked the same roster of pilots as you've just seen. Mach 1 came in to race against them. Also with the same 4 pilots. And let's jump into the second race between them. STT won the first one. But let's take a look at Hologram and Steph as they race against Danube and Shrimpy Boy. Very good start from everybody. And Danube and Shrimpy Boy were starting to move away, but Danube goes to the back and Hologram and Steph are in for a chase now. Shrimpy Boy making a bit of a wrong turn, which is giving Hologram the lead. Shrimpy Boy will try and cut inside as we go around the pylons and around the second one and just slips alongside Hologram here. It's good clean flying from Hologram. Shrimpy Boy being a little bit more aggressive, but didn't quite make it work out. He and Hologram go around that oil section in the middle very cleanly. It's 0.3 of a second between them. Here's Hologram's view on the inside for that turn. It's a good cut. It's a good take on the turn, and now we'll go Bando flying, missing all the columns inside and a bit direct for Hologram. I like it. There's a lot of speed through the inside Bando. 0.6 of a second now as Shrimpy Boy's got slightly away, and Danube has caught Hologram. Hologram still in the fight there, but I think Danube is pulling some quick turns to keep ahead, and Hologram has dropped a little bit further behind and is joining Steph in third and fourth. It was great flying from Hologram. Really consistent and clean work. Shrimpy Boy and Danube out front now. Hologram with a bit more work to do to get back into contention. I was enjoying the fight. Here's Danube's route. They're both going around all these columns. We've seen pilots go inside those columns. Danube and Shrimpy Boy not needing to do anything risky like that, although Hologram has gained a little bit on the pair of them. But if they are holding it back, they would need to hold it back quite a lot more, I think, for this gap to get dangerous. Let's take a look at Danube's route through that pair of split S's. And then out! I love it, Danube! Look at that exit around the pylon, but through the structure like it isn't even there. And yet Shrimpy Boy doesn't care. He's alongside him and trying to take on the inside. He did briefly. It's between Danube and Shrimpy Boy on the third lap here. I don't think either of the pilots of Mach 1 are going to get back into contention, but I loved the scrap at the start. Into lap number 2, it was touch and go as to who could keep the lead. Then Hologram slipped a little bit. Right now it's touch and go between Danube and Shrimpy Boy. Who's going to get the point for STT? It's definitely going to be one of them, you would think. Bando section now, Shrimpy Boy in second. Hologram was very quick across that and through this building. These guys are too far ahead for her to catch her. She slipped a long way behind now. Hologram comes in and finishes strongly, and Steph just right behind her. But it's Danube who gets the win just over Shrimpy Boy. Can we take a look? So STT get the win over Mach 1. 4-0. Race day 2 in Oil Bando, though, is a wrap. Haven narrowly beating out the wildcard team, and then a few 4-0s, and that epic encounter between Raiden and Quad Force 1 going 4-3. So the standings after those 2 race days. X-Blades, previous world champions, tied on top of the leaderboard with a brand new team called Cyclone Racing. X-Blades fighting for their 2 4-0 wins, perhaps a little bit closer than Cyclone were over Alpha for theirs. Then STT, who are brilliant at sea so high up early on in the season. Then some more teams who we know from previous years. Quad Force 1, then Raiden, then China Dragons, and then we get back to the rest of our new teams. It's only Cyclone of the new teams who aren't in the bottom 4. They happen to be tied at the top. Haven move up into 7th, and we've got the wildcard team, Mach 1 and Alpha Racing still chasing their first points. So race day 3, that's the one that comes after 2. Cyclone won't be racing Alpha. We've had enough of that. And they're going to race X-Blades instead, which is fantastic, and it's in episode 3 of our magazine. Cyclone versus X-Blades. Who wins that? They both remember on 8-0 streaks. So somebody's got a slip. You can find that in our YouTube magazine. We're going to concentrate here on Flight Night with the rest of the races. Alpha against the wildcard team. Haven will take on STT, Spain Drone team. Raiden Racing will take on Quad Force 1 again. Race days 2 and 3. What stacked race days they are. And then Mach 1 would love to get their first points, and they're going to race the China Dragons to do so. On race day 3, they're coming in with the same 4 pilots as we've seen them flying at it. STT Perpetuum coin. Let's go for the race. We're going to go straight to the big heat between these 2 teams. As you can see, STT have had it a little bit one-sided so far. They won the first 3 races against Haven. move to the first 4 positions in the big heat, although Holshagen wants something to say about it. They need Peterson and Schmieland. I've seen great flying from these guys. And the match between Haven and the DCL Wildcard team is the second of our magazines on the YouTube channel. It was a great contest. Maybe though against the STT team, who, as I say, have been getting a little bit better every season and have made some, it seems, really, really strong improvements during the break between last year and this season. They are looking like a real force to contend with this year, and maybe a force that's a bit too much for Haven to keep up with. Holshagen, the only pilot who's managing to stay with the top 3, getting a little bit closer, managing to get past Blessed, and then just slipping back again. It's still Silvio, Sea Sky and Danube out in front. Half a second, 4/10 of a second, 6/10 of a second, it comes and goes, but it's still Silvio in front of Sea Sky, who's got into a bit of a muddle on the corkscrew. Danube, little bit behind them. DJ Saltra in the chat saying, way to go Wildcard team. Yeah, good showing from them. STT looking in a very strong position to make this a 4-0 sweep of Haven. Team out of Stavanger, new team in the DCL. Not had long to be put together. They weren't even together when the 2022 season finished. They've been formed since then. We had the end of our season last year at Haven's Esports studio in Stavanger. But there wasn't a Haven racing team then. There wasn't even going to be a team from Stavanger in Norway in the DCL at that point, but discussions were happening. So a new team. Lots to learn, but putting in a really good fight earlier on with the Wildcard team. Just seen put in a really good fight as well. Holshagen still in third here, but the gap is 3, 4, 5 seconds now. Some of those turns have opened things up quite dramatically along towards Colourful Streets, which we race on in one of our other tracks in-game in Stavanger. If you think you recognise it, you do go straight ahead of that point on one of the other tracks. Not on this one though, which by the way is called Wharf Speed. You'll get to play it in DCL the game. Wharf Speed around Stavanger Harbour. Holshagen does keep the third. SDT coming first, second, fourth and fifth though. Schmieland and Peterson, they'll come in now. So SDT, Perpetuum Coin, the Spain drone team are going to make that one a clean sweep. Congratulations to these guys for a strong set of performances, the 1v1 2v2s and the 4v4. I see the paper in the chat who used to fly with Spain drone team and knows them so well, of course. Day 3 with our teams all lining up like this. X-Blades having a good scrap with Cyclone. Not many people would have bet on Cyclone getting 2 points off of X-Blades, particularly after the amazing performance we've seen from X-Blades in the past. And strong showing from them, but great work from Cyclone to get 2 points off of them. Alpha getting their first point of the season. That was against DCL Wildcard team. Haven were left behind by STT Perpetuum Coin. You've just seen Quad Force 1 beat out Raiden 4-2. And Mac 1, sadly, going down 4-0 to the China Dragons. Backo's in chat. That was a fun match to watch. Cyclone put up a fight, says Drobot. Yeah, absolutely. So the standings after 3 race days sees X-Blades still tied at the top of the leaderboard, but they weren't tied with Cyclone. Now they're tied with SDT Perpetuum Coin. This is a team who have barely been anywhere than in last place on our leaderboard, coming last in a lot of race days, coming last on a lot of season leaderboards. They're